Welcome back here to Frisco, Texas. You're watching HPL, and we're about to move into our first match of the night, ek0p versus Kranich. Is ek0p going to bring the Warlock pain to Kranich, or is Kranich innovation going to be too much for ek0p to overcome?
Yeah, we're really going to have to find out. I mean, Warlock's a class that has a lot of answers to anything that unconventional I think that Kranich could throw at him, and if he continues to play that Warlock, I suspect he's going to have an advantage in this. But again, you know, he doesn't want to stay too terribly predictable. That's probably why he's been swapping it up a little bit. But Kranich hasn't really been trying to target his opponents. He's been trying to execute some alternative game plans. So it's really anyone's guess exactly what they're going to do. With a guy like Kranich, it's anyone's guess for sure. But guys, game one is getting underway right now. ek0p versus Kranich.
And I really love that point that you made, that Kranich hasn't really been apparently targeting specifically his opponents that he's been playing. So I really expect to see ek0p play a bunch of very powerful strategies against him. And you know what? We're going to see a Druid deck out of him right away. This deck has been putting up huge numbers across HPL.
Yeah, I think, you know, ek0p's the kind of guy who is going to put a lot of time into practice and research and that sort of thing. The fact that he's been seeing Druid do so well, I think it's kind of reflective of just the way that everyone has been playing their decks. Everyone's kind of been playing strategies that can fall to Druid in certain circumstances. Nobody's been outright very, very aggressive, pretty much other than Green Sheep. And Kranich, he sort of sees that as well. He's going with Druid. But if there's one person you can be playing a weird Druid deck, I think it's Kranich.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen the rise of Warrior decks here in the last about week and a half here in HPL. Maybe that's another reason why we're seeing a little bit more Druid.
Yeah, Grim Patron Warrior's such a strong force. Really, any Warrior's such a strong force. And wow, look at that opening hand from ek0p. That's 2 Innervates and a Piloted Shredder. That Harrison Jones pretty much just going to be a 5-4 in this matchup. Unless, I don't know, Kranich's got like a Blingtron 3000 or something in his deck.
I don't expect put it past him.
I don't expect him to have that, though. But a beautiful start here from ek0p. You know, I'm actually kind of curious the merits of playing turn 1 Harrison Jones here.
Yeah, that is something to think about. You could just use both your Innervates and use and play turn 1 Harrison Jones, but I think I just like turn 1 Piloted Shredder a little bit more and save this Innervate for something big if you draw like Emperor Thorson or Dr. Boom.
Wow, look at Kranich's opening hand too. Double Wild Growth, Innervate, and a Druid of the Claw.
Strap in, boys. This game is, they're going to be throwing big punches very early.
Yeah, if Kranich picks up some big threats, this is going to be a problem for ek0p. But you know, ek0p's got that second Innervate, and now he's got a Wrath to help shore up some of this board position that he might be losing because of this. But 5 damage on turn 2, man, that's nothing to scoff at.
No, I mean, he's taking a full 6th of Kranich's, Kranich's life total here right away, and Kranich needs to find something to do and answer this very quickly.
Keeper of the Grove's pretty darn good versus Piloted Shredder. Takes out that second body via the silence. Now, you are going to lose your Keeper of the Grove a lot of times in the process, or maybe just take some damage depending on how ek0p chooses to attack, but you know, not a bad answer, I would say, by any stretch of the means.
Yeah, I think Kranich is trying to consider what are the merits of innervating out this Druid of the Claw here, and you know, you do float a mana. As you said, if you do use the Keeper of the Grove and silence the Piloted Shredder here, it does leave behind just a 2/4 body that can be eaten by the Piloted Shredder. And so Kranich, it looks like it's going to Wild Growth and possibly Keeper this turn as well, but no, he's actually going to forego that and just deal some damage here.
Yeah, he's looking forward, I think, to drawing some bigger threats and making good use of those. So he wants to get that second Wild Growth out of the way and have his mana really ramped in anticipation of drawing things like that. ek0p, this is his opening to apply a lot of pressure now. I mean, Piloted Shredder went unchecked for a turn. Now you have a 5/4 added to this board. Swipe is not going to perfectly clean this up. So Kranich doesn't find himself with some answers very soon. He's going to fall very far behind.
Yeah, I fully expected this, and I love seeing this play from ek0p. Let's just get the pressure going. You've already got Kranich down to 22, and you have 9 points of damage in your hand. You already have a Savage Roar in your hand, and you have a Wrath and a Keeper of the Grove to get through some of the things that Kranich is going to do later. Let's just put the pedal down and go.
Yeah, so far both these guys are pretty true mirror match too. I mean, Harrison Jones and Kranich's deck as well. So both of them trying to target weapon classes here very early on. You know, it's a pretty unique choice, honestly. This is a very big nod to the fact that Grim Patron Warrior has been so powerful in the games that we've seen.
Yeah, it's something interesting from Kranich that he has Harrison Jones in his deck. ek0p, as we said in the match build-up, he doesn't always play a lot of classes that have weapons in them. The only blowback he's been taking so far in HPL is from Warlock.
Yeah, so Kranich really now got a decision in front of him too. He just used Force of Nature. Gonna leave the Shredder at 1 health. He's looking to silence it and do something else to go along with it. And ek0p, no real big plays here. I mean, I'm curious, like, how much pressure do you actually want? This Piloted Shredder's done a massive amount of damage. Do you want to fling this Keeper of the Grove at his face?
There's a very good chance he's going to, since Kranich used a Force of Nature to deal all that damage last turn. That's very telling what Kranich has got going on in his hand.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I mean, if your opponent had something like Sylvanas, they would have played it on that turn right there. So I think this is totally safe to just use it to push damage.
Yeah, it's very likely they have something like a 7-drop like Dr. Boom. I know this situation is actually reversed, but it's very likely that they just have something like Dr. Boom in their hand, and they're just trying to stabilize the board as much as they can before they get into a turn like that.
Yeah, so Kranich's going to go ahead and silence now. Oh, he's going to deal 2 damage, and a 3/2 comes out of that Piloted Shredder. And he finds himself in a situation where he has to taunt this Druid of the Claw, and if it does not live, he is in trouble.
Yeah, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. ek0p got a lot of ways to get through this. He can use a Savage Roar if he wants to just punch through that way, which I don't know if we'll see that now since he picked up Force of Nature, but this Wrath will allow him to just kind of chew through this with the body that was left behind by the Piloted Shredder.
3 power off a Piloted Shredder, always something that you're welcoming into pretty much all your games.
Not to mention, doing this play will get Kranich down to 14 if ek0p attacks him with the Keeper of the Grove, and he already has Force of Nature Savage Roar in his hand, not to mention the Dr. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps him at that 14 health total and Kranich can't find a way to taunt up or heal, just every single turn that ek0p doesn't die is one step closer to him winning the game. He's got Force of Nature and Savage Roar, just like you said. That's exactly what he's going to do. I mean, there's not even close to a favorable trade here. So
yeah, he's going to put him.
Yeah,
he's going to put him down to 13, kind of immediately, taking care of any armor that Kranich would gain over the next turn. So he's going to stay a turn ahead of him here and always keep him at 14.
Yeah, and Kranich has got to start worrying about that. But, I don't think he's got a way to adequately play around that. I think he's just got to get pressure going himself. He has the Savage Roar and he has the Keeper of the Grove, but he has no other tools in his hand. So he's got to find a way to maybe push damage against ek0p and see if he wants to blink and try to start clearing this board.
Yeah, when you start pushing here and dealing damage, it starts to give you a little bit of inclination of what ek0p has in his hand, but how he plays the next turn, and Kranich is not going to like what he sees.
Yeah, so ek0p got a wonderful set of draws left in his deck, and Loatheb is certainly one of them. Just, again, anytime he's going to add a threat to the board and be able to push a couple points of damage, very happy with that result.
Yeah, absolutely. ek0p getting to play Loatheb here is great, actually. Now, you're going to see it's not going to affect Kranich's draw much, but you don't know what he has in his hand. He's going into 9 mana. He could have had something like, Force of Nature and something else, like a second copy of it, since he used one so liberally early. And again, just a great minion, just a huge 5/5 body, and hopefully taking some play away from Kranich.
And now, I mean, when you're facing down 4 minions now, though, ek0p does have to worry about just something like a Savage Roar from his opponent's hand. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, doesn't have to worry nearly as much about it anymore because of that Sludge Belcher. That's going to hold off a lot of potential damage. But, if his opponent had Keeper of the Grove and Savage Roar, just like Kranich has, it could spell a little bit of a disaster. So
yeah, we might see this game turn around quite a bit here over the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, he recognizes that he's put into a defensive position now because of this Dr. Boom. I'm curious if he's going to even consider playing around something like Double Savage Roar. I think I also would have liked to see him play this Dr. Boom first before he did that.
Yeah, playing the Dr. Boom first, you could get some really weird bomb-on-bomb action going back and forth.
Oh my gosh, that's a lethal draw from Kranich. Kranich is true lethal.
I was going to say, this is actually lethal from Kranich here, I believe. Yeah.
Wow, just like that, Kranich turns this game around. ek0p had a great start, but so did Kranich, and able to weather the early storm and then push for this much damage. That's just it.
Yeah, you saw ek0p come out to a very, very great start, but Kranich just survived long enough to actually get, he had a few more cards and a little bit more mana over the span of the game. He had Wild Growths early, while ek0p had Innervates. ek0p got immediate pressure on the board, but Kranich had that staying power that Wild Growth gives you. He got to play bigger plays every single turn of the game instead of just the first couple turns of the game that ek0p got to.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple times that major threats were entering the board, they were on Kranich's side. Dr. Boom really the first big threat that hit play. And honestly, the fact that ek0p didn't play Dr. Boom first and then he ate 3 damage from that Boom bot, that was the difference in winning and losing that game.
Yeah, there's a couple of different things that could happen if you played the Dr. Boom first. There's a couple different targets for the Boom bots to hit. You could get really lucky, start have a chain reaction happening with the Boom bots, removing a couple extra minions from the board and not letting Savage Roar be lethal.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of a misstep from him. I'd like to go back and look at that game myself and see exactly what I would have done. And you know what? You can too. You can head over to pvplive.net and see exactly for yourself how this game panned out. The full stats breakdowns and the recaps are all available to it. So Kranich, man, hops out to a 1-0 lead here now. Love that he's kind of going a little bit more streamlined with his strategies. Against other professionals, it's not easy to make those small innovations, guys. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, ek0p's looking to tie this series up, and Kranich is looking for a 2-0 lead. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.